Do you enjoy reading books or watching movies more? We have all read a book and then watched the movie version of it and had a clear distinction on which is better. I know I have, and I know my group has, read a book and then watched the movie and decided that one was way more substantial than the other. Reading and watching books both have positive and negative connotations, but which is overall more beneficial? The pros of reading or watching books, along with the cons of which both options will be explained further throughout.
Watching movies or television shows are far more popular and prominent as a source for media consumption as opposed to reading the source material, and is widely considered to be a lot more time effective. Watching gives a viewer a set visualization of a story with little input needed to gain a grasp of the setting, characters, and plot. Paraphrasing Isabella Jones in a report in honor of the 20th anniversary of World Book Day, watching a film can help you interpret the story within 2 hours and can lead to discussions with your friends immediately, while a book can take several days to complete and can lead to many different interpretations and disagreements with your friends. Watching shows or movies are much more time efficient and sociable than reading a book. Watching media also enhances the immediate experience for the audience, including aspects that are not present in books, such as character voices, a soundtrack, and choreography, all things that readers struggle to come up with while reading on their own.
Now let's look at some of the benefits of reading instead. So reading has a different set of benefits than watching television, including increased mental flexibility, more creativity, and also relief from depression. So first off is more mental flexibility. So Milstein and Hennick in Why Should Reading Books Be Preferred to Watching Television describe mental flexibility as the ability for someone to think of multiple different representations of an object at the same time. They also state that by completing the process of reading, someone is able to improve their mental flexibility not just in the reading process, but outside of it as well. So therefore, by reading, people can improve their daily lives just by reading a book and improving their mental flexibility. Next up is relief from depression. So Billington and others in an investigation into the therapeutical effects of reading in relation to depression and their well-being state that the subjects were able to get improved social well-being by being less isolated and improving their confidence, improve their mental well-being by giving them more concentration and also allowing them to be more interested in the learning process and understanding new things, and improve their psychological and emotional well-being by giving them more self-consciousness and allowing them to express the thoughts of their self and being more. So these effects also apply to people outside of just depressed people. So by simply reading, people can improve their general well-being. And finally, there's also increased mental creativity in reading. So in an interview, Marcus Lund, a student at Modesto Junior College, said, "I enjoy reading because it allows me to interpret things for myself." So when reading, the reader is able to interpret the characters, the scenes, and the actions all for themselves. And this increased creativity can allow for more enjoyment from the reader.
Now that we have discussed two positive implications of reading as well as watching books, now we can look at the negative implications that are a result of these two aspects. One negative notion that can be easily taken away from watching books instead of reading is the distraction process. Since you are vulnerable to many distractions, such as multitasking, this could change your patience and ultimately allow for other tasks and objectives outside of reading to be taken much longer. This is thoroughly explained through the National Library of New Zealand, as they wrote an example through using 400 students in a survey where they found out, quote, that 85% of US students were more likely to multitask in an online environment. And due to these aspects, we can clearly see the demonstration that watching books can have a negative implication, such as hindering your focus and delaying tasks that should have been done. Another aspect is that it can be very strenuous on the eyes and your cognitive senses. Now let's talk about the disadvantages to reading. This includes a lack of sociable opportunities as it is an isolating act. While you're reading, you're most likely reading by yourself, and this ultimately isolates you from the outside and denies opportunities to talk to others. Another thing is a loss of time. When you're reading for hours on end, you can lose a track of time, and ultimately a 30-minute reading session can turn into hours on end, ultimately ruining plans that you had later in the day. Reading can also cause you to be emotionally attached to the characters. Through your imagination, you could fictionalize these characters and get emotionally attached to them.
In conclusion, there are obvious pros and cons to both sides. Watching something gives a viewer a sense of visualization and events taking place in the story, while reading allows for more creative freedom. But watching books and movies can hinder the focus of students at the same time, can have strenuous effects on the eyes, and further harm your cognitive stress. Reading and watching movies both have important pros and cons, and depending on your preferred method of reading or watching, there will always be someone trying to disagree, argue, or point out a better or worse version of it.